minus 50 seconds. T minus 40 seconds. T minus 30 seconds. T minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Lisa.
How are you all doing?
Hello.
Wonderful. How are you?
This is actually the very first Luncheon with Lisa show. So thank you. This is kind of like a launch show party. But I want to say too that I found out that this month, the month of August, is actually National Black Business Month. So it was perfect timing for starting the show and bringing on some people who have their businesses so we can share a little bit about what you all do. And then we want to get into like a general conversation about how you all are handling your businesses, because entrepreneurs can probably have a rough time right now, especially right now, but even before these times, being an entrepreneur is some serious work. So we wanted to talk about how things are economy wise, and even with racial tensions, how things are going with business, and any tips and positive things that you can think of. After we talk about challenges, we want to end on positive things that you all are doing to keep the businesses rolling. So I wanted to first welcome everybody to Luncheon with Lisa.
Thank you.
And I am excited because y'all are my first crew forever. So just call yourself stuck, because that's just what it is. But welcome. I want to give you a little bit of background real quick on how Luncheon with Lisa started. Because I have done some other shows in the past, but actually maybe a month ago, I decided I wanted to do a blog within my magazine called Dove Style Magazine, where I wanted to kind of just talk with my readers and have some fun with them. Not just send out articles, but just kind of share, things that happen during the day that drive you crazy, and have a little laugh and chat and talk. And when the opportunity came to start the show, it was already named Luncheon with Lisa, so the show kind of went right in there with it. So actually on Dove Style Magazine, you'll be able to not only see the blog where I'll be able to go in and talk to you all, but you'll also be able to enjoy the shows that we have. So the shows are going to come on every Thursday, 7 to 8, in the page Luncheon with Lisa. And I'm excited about launching it for this month. And I'm excited about the businesses that we have on today. And all month long, I'm going to be just kind of celebrating for National Black Business Month. I'm going to be celebrating everyone who has their businesses out there, because I want to see everybody win. So this just falls right into what I believe in. So because this is a brand new show, I've shared with you all a little bit about how I got started. And one of my things is about sharing the shine. So I love to share the shine on people, places, and things that inspire everyone. So we'll talk about things that matter in our communities and all over the world. We'll laugh, we'll agree to disagree. We may even cry, and we'll respect each other, all the while having fun. So we encourage everyone to grab their favorite drink and snack. And share through the screens, of course, and continue to tune in for great guests and information and topics that will keep us informed and entertained. And sometimes we will definitely be lunching up in here. So let's keep it coming. What I first want to do before we get started is introduce our guests. I'm going to go ahead and introduce everybody. So you all, when I introduce you, wave your hands so everybody knows who you are. And then we're going to just get into some conversation. So I first want to introduce, we have Shartice Torrance on with us in Luncheon with Lisa. And Shartice is a realtor licensed in Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia. And she's affiliated with Sampson Properties, LLC. She provides top-notch results with a personalized white glove service for every client. She also loves building up her community and leaving the world a little bit better than when she came. So she helps to build the next generation of leaders through teaching graduate level courses at Georgetown University School of Continuing Studies. And she also serves as volunteer with Girl Scouts Council of the nation's capital. She is a realtor to move your dreams to reality. Welcome, Shartice Torrance.
Thank you. Thank you.
Appreciate you. We also have Stephen Wilson, and he is the owner of it was In a Minute Cafe.
That's correct.
So we'll be looking for some food in a little bit, to feed everybody.
Yeah.
And minute events catering for those very special occasions. I will let Stephen actually share when he talks a little bit more about what he has going on. But let's just say that his dishes are delicious, and he actually catered my very first Dove Style magazine soiree, where we celebrated 1 year of Dove Style magazine. I don't know if he remembers, but he actually catered that for us. And I think people are still talking about the potato. You had the potato, I forgot what you called it, but you were able to put the potato in the cups and mashed potato bar. It was awesome. They're still talking about that. So, and that was back in 2012. So we've been hooked ever since. So welcome, Steve Wilson.
Thank you.
We also have Natasha Briscoe. She's with us today. She's the wife to her high school sweetheart and mom to Jasmine and Cameron, who we will meet shortly. She is a creative entrepreneur who loves to write poetry. She's the owner and creative director of LB Innovations, and they are responsible for over 100 weddings, corporate functions, and events with purpose annually. Latasha has also served as Commission for Women, the National Association for the Advancement of Color Women, and NAACP, and she's a vice president. Oh, you're the past vice president to chapter of Zeta Phi Beta sorority. So yay to her sisters. And she is serving third term as a president for the federally employed women NWDC chapter, and recently appointed as the director of events and programs for the Phenomenal Young Women Incorporated. She believes service should be done humbly behind the scenes without recognition, because your gift will make room for your rewards. Then we have Cameron, and Cameron is better known as Cam. And I know that name pretty well because I have a Cam too. Now, Cam is 8 years old. He's a young man who loves God, his family, and sports. He's a scholar, student, and great friend. Cam works hard on the basketball court and the football field, and he's good at sportsmanship with all his teammates. Through his company, Cam's All Year Gear, he can create and motivate the world. And this is really different coming from somebody of his age. One day, he hopes to speak on a stage, encouraging strangers to simply say hello and smile. He's on a mission, and we at Luncheon with Lisa want to be part of that mission. So welcome to Luncheon with Lisa, because this is your stage right now. Since we can't be on one physically, we welcome you, Cameron. Then we have Charlene Day, who has a versatile of experience, an extensive background as a business magnate, best-selling author, orator, communication strategist, philanthropist, and more. We had a long list, but I was like, okay, we're gonna have to break this down a little bit because Charlene stays busy. Charlene has built and implemented systems, programs, and workshops that have elevated and infiltrated the lives of men and women from fearful living to fearless transformational lifestyles by breaking down cross-cultural barriers. One of her treasured projects being a forgiveness project, which she implemented with her company, Key Lab. Charlene lives out of what you make happen for others, God will make happen for you. Welcome, Charlene. And then we have Sharon Combs, and she's a CEO, founder, owner, all of that of UCDI, which is a network of consultants and trainers dedicated to helping you achieve your goals. Sharon is a team player, leader, and professional who works hard and brings out the best in those around her. Sharon started training professionally in 1997, and in 2001, she became a corporate trainer for Brinker International. A native of Oklahoma, she enlisted in the U.S. Navy and received the I'm sure I'm not saying this right, meritorious, is that right? Meritorious advancement honor for her integrity and leadership. She has spent over 15 years working with young adults and at-risk youth on communication, critical thinking, and option discovery. Sharon is active in her community and enjoys small-time philanthropy. So I want to extend a thank you and a welcome to all of my guests on the first Luncheon with Lisa. And we are going to get into some conversations because, like I said, this first show, we're actually celebrating National Black Business. And I didn't realize, and some of you may have, I didn't realize that August was National Black Business Month. So I'm excited about that because it's just another reason for us to kind of celebrate each other and put each other out there because we all can win. So I wanted to actually start off with talking to you all about what some of the challenges that you all have encountered, even before COVID, but especially now that COVID is here because it's going to be here for a while. So what are some of the challenges that you all have, encountered along the way now that we are in this situation with COVID? Because actually I'm seeing a lot of businesses thriving during this time. So it's not necessarily a bad thing for some people, but, maybe some people have kind of figured out some ways to get around, those things. So share with me in no particular order, but Sharon, what are some things you've encountered, some challenges along the way?
Actually, for me, my challenges have actually been partnering and hiring, like as far as the outsourcing. I know, there's social platforms, anything from Fiverr to Upwork that you can use to get things done. But with the onset of COVID, my workflow almost tripled. And so at a time when a lot of people are losing things and being furloughed, I was fortunate enough, I praise God, that my workflow tripled. And so the challenge for me has been being stuck in a fulfillment mode, which, could sound ungrateful. But if being an entrepreneur or solopreneur, if you don't get things done, that's right. You almost want to do it wrong instead of just not having it done. And so that's been I see Chef kind of nodding on that. That's been a real challenge for me, doing that and wanting to provide opportunity to people who may have lost their jobs. But when you're in an entrepreneur situation, it is a different mindset than just a work situation. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you don't have the time to actually train an entrepreneur mindset in individuals. Okay. If that makes sense.
Okay. So what about you, Chef? Because you were actually nodding when Sharon was talking, so I'm sure you can relate. What are some challenges you have, especially with you being in the food industry?
Well, prior to COVID, I had a catering company called Minute Events Catering, which you're familiar with, and we had school contracts. We had 2 school contracts, and we had a contract with UPS, and I've been with them for years. And when COVID hit, everything just shut down. The school shut down. My corporate accounts shut down. So I was actually unemployed for like 4 months. And then, of course, I had the Mercy Gray Center, which was my other nonprofit. And in that center, we had booked weddings and baby showers and things like that. So with the whole COVID challenge and the social distancing and all that, we weren't able to book any functions. And what got worse, people were canceling and wanted refunds. So we had weddings booked for the rest of this year, and we had to refund.
Oh, wow.
Refunds of weddings, baby showers, family reunions, graduations, different events.
Right.
So, me being an entrepreneur, my mind is always racing. My mind is always, okay, so what am I going to do? What's the next step? Now that I can't cater anymore because there's no events, I'm in the food business. What do I do? So I called my good friend, you may know him, Chef Rome. His name was Reginald. And I called him. I said, look, you're a caterer. You're struggling. I'm struggling. I have a kitchen. We need to do something. We put our heads together and we said, you know what? Let's open a cafe. People still need to eat.
Right.
People are in their homes. They're afraid to leave.
Right.
COVID. So let's open up a cafe and we can contract with DoorDash, Uber Eats, and Postmates, and all these other delivery services and get food delivered to people at their homes. So we opened a cafe in July, and it's a Black-owned business. And we have been thriving since July. We are literally sell out almost every day.
Wow.
Every Friday and Saturday, we are sold out. There are days we have to close early because we can't handle the overflow.
So that's blessings, overflow of blessings. Well, and this is what I like hearing this, because even though, for a lot of people, they're saying that it's rough out there, and it is rough. But the one thing is that your minds are still moving. Like, what can I do? What can I do? How can I get through this? Because we still got to keep moving. Like you said, people got to eat. So how are we going to do this so that we can still win and they can still eat? So I like that. So I want to keep that going. Because then on a good note, we're going to end with kind of what Chef was talking about with the good things that came about, because right now everybody's still winning. But Charlene, can you share with me a little bit about how things have been going with you, with your business, and what are some challenges you've run across?
So thanks for asking that question. Again, I work mostly on contracts, and sometimes a lot of those contracts, well, not sometimes, the contracts have ended because we're normally in certain buildings, like federal buildings, corporations. And if they're employees, they're real employees, are not going in. What makes me think I'm going to go in? So therefore, that costs a lot of loss in income. And it also caused me to be really creative. And I wasn't willing to really do all the Zoom meetings and trainings via Zoom. Because I was like, I am always on Zoom, like every weekend. Or, with the Moms Club and all this other stuff. I'm like, I don't want to do this. And so it made me shift a little bit more and say, well, Charlotte, this is how you make money. But you have to take on these contracts and now do them online and do what they're asking you to do. And so a lot of the companies are looking, for people to train and do the same thing that I was already doing online. And there was some creativity with that I didn't want to adjust, because I like seeing people eyeball to eyeball, face to face, because I like touching and telling and throwing balls at people and writing out plans. I'm like, this isn't personal to me. I want to touch you and squeeze your cheeks and, what I'm saying, and, hold up a tag and say, can you see that? So anyway, so I had to adjust, and it cost me more money because I was slow at adjusting. Because I really wanted to be around people. But I'm a scary cat too. So I said, I'm not going to be around people because I love my life and my family's life. So I can't, do the things I really want to do. So the adjustments was, get with the program, find out what is working, find someone that's doing exactly what you're doing, and do it to make sure you keep your money coming in. So that was a little stubborn at first, but
Well, and I think that's part of that's a good tip for people as far as adjusting, because sometimes it's just, that's one of the things that you have to learn to adjust. It's kind of like when the computers came about in old school, we didn't want to use computers. It's like, I don't want to use all of that. I want to pick up the phone and I want to talk. Like, I don't like texting as much as some people, because I'm like, I want to pick up the phone and actually
talk to you, right?
Yeah. Because, you can misread. I want to hear the inflection in your voice and all that kind of stuff. But that's old school sometimes. So, we have to make adjustments because that's just how things are. So, Shartice, and I'm going to come to the duo last because I want to mom and son. And I love the mom and son thing just because Latasha's already ahead of the game with, teaching her young people how to move forward in entrepreneurship. So I am loving that. But Shartice, we want to talk to you because you're a realtor, and this, sometimes I think even before this started, it could have been envisioned that this would have been a difficult time. But it's not looking like that. So how are things going for you? I think you're on mute.
You're muted.
Let me see. Yes. Can everybody hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Initially, when COVID first hit, I think the biggest thing was overcoming fear. Fear of buyers and sellers, fear of realtors. Everyone was looking at the news. Now we're up to 55+ million people have filed for unemployment, and it was giving folks flashback to 2007, 2008. Buyers were holding their coins. Sellers were pulling their homes off the market. I even had an instance where I was the day of at a closing for a client, and the client texted that day and said, "I'm sorry, I'm not purchasing my home."
Wow.
Just out of sheer fear. And we ended up being able to pray about it, work through it, explain to the client, what really was going on in the market, what the options were. And about a week later, that client did end up going to the table. And I will say now, it is really, for me individually and for clients as well, changing your outlook to change your outcome.
Okay.
I have to exude that with my clients to give them confidence and clarity, sharing with them the data about what is going on in the market, being realistic and having those courageous conversations with them about things to consider. But, the other thing that's been critical through this is this dual pandemics, not just the COVID-19 pandemic, but the social injustice pandemic. And that reigns true in the housing market. And it's something I'm really passionate about, making sure that we up those numbers, particularly in our communities of color of home ownership, because that truly is the foundational element of generational wealth. I will say now, buyers are buying and sellers are selling. Buyers are taking advantage of these historically low interest rates. For the first time in history, it's below 3%. And they're trying to get in and get those homes, to create a solid foundation for themselves. And sellers are putting their homes back on the market. We're in situations now where sellers are listing their properties on Thursday and they have 30 offers to review by Saturday. So it really is a dynamic market. And I think really people just got to a place where they put faith over fear. And then behind that, they were also able to see the data and the statistics and the numbers. And so that has been amazing. And now what we're seeing is that it is predicted that housing is really going to drive the economic recovery coming out of COVID. And we're seeing that in the market updates month over month. So it's exciting.
Yeah. I am seeing that, and I was actually surprised. I was thinking that would be a hard market, and I would have been one of those that was terrified about, okay, so how do we do this? Did you all clean up? I would have had a lot of questions, okay, because, yeah, I'm lunching a lot of times with stuff like this, especially with COVID, so I would have had 50 million questions. So what you all do, too, in your businesses is have to be able to comfort people in the fact that what I'm doing for you is still, we can work this out and do this safely. We can continue this, because sometimes people just kind of fall back when things like this happen and they don't move. And you have to push them forward so that they can continue to move. So let's actually move over to Latasha and Cam. And Latasha, tell us a little bit about the challenges, because yours are maybe similar to Stephen's with events and things like that. But I like the fact that you have Cam involved. with his business. So tell us a little bit about your challenge.
Yeah, so exactly like Stephen mentioned, everything just came to a stop. The week of March the 13th, when that week, we had to end up literally 48 taking a 500 person event and pivoting real fast and putting it on a virtual platform, because it was no way, or it wouldn't have been fair to the attendees rather, to just cancel everything with no notice really. And so learning to pivot has been, when I tell you I'm a pro at it now, like everything that I've done in my business the past 4 months has not only allowed me to excel in some areas, but also be able to teach others how to pick this thing up real fast and keep going. They're literally, I have not had a long pause or a long break during the past 4 months, because I figured out other ways to keep working, from hosting virtual events to doing like the drive-by type of events. And then, you know, I'm a floral designer. And so without doing weddings, I'm like, I need some flowers to play in. So unfortunately, funerals have increased during this time. And so I'm doing a lot of funerals and just personal gifts to people that just said, you know, I just want some flowers in the house just to make my house look pretty, or just so I can look at it. And so I've been doing those things to keep myself busy. So I'm always trying to figure out ways to work. I know a lot of people said, oh, I've taken this time to just rest. And I've done that part too, because I can sleep in a little more. But I always have to be busy into something, and learning to not only cleaning up my back office and making sure like forms and contracts are together for whenever events start kicking off again, you know, in the old sense, because I'm still doing weddings. I mean, we're doing them outside and we're doing them at smaller scale, so they're still happening. But just learning to pivot and just keep going, and making sure that your audience knows that you're not just stopping, because if you just stop, then they're going to be like, well, are you still able to do this? Can you still do this? Like, you know, like Chef was saying, you know, he had to transition into the cafe, but there was no break. Anybody that's watching on the outside never saw a break in between what he was doing, because he kept going. And, you know, he feeds us well, we go there, he feeds us well. But,
absolutely.
And then, you know, and then you mentioned like Cameron, Cameron, he you know, even though officially kicked his business, and then everything shut. So it's like, and I'm gonna let him share a little bit, but we use this time to really hone down on how he wanted to operate, and what products he was going to deliver, and how he was going to represent himself and his business. So we were using that time because he wasn't at school. So this wasn't an extended summer break at, we call it Briscoe Prep Creative Arts Academy. So there was no extended summer break here. He was working, you know.
Right.
Oh, go ahead.
So Cameron, why don't you join in and tell us about what are some of the challenges that you face with your business, because you kind of got stuck in this COVID world, but you're creative and motivate. That all works through COVID. So, you know, I see you still pushing through. I've seen a few things. So what's going on with you? What were some challenges for you, Cam? I like saying Cam because I'm just so used to it. I like saying Cam because I'm so used to it.
It's okay. Yeah, you're good. It's okay. Yeah, you're good. So, the way I started my business, I was just I was just looking for a way to make money. Cause my goal, I didn't need one, but I wanted one. It's a Nintendo Switch. So about last week, I beat that goal. I beat that goal by just about $10. So that's a plus. So I was thinking about walking people's dogs, washing cars throughout the street or the neighborhood. And it hit me. Mom said, why can't you just start a business like me? So that's when it started. March 1st, Cam's All Year Gear was launched. Which was actually my birthday, my 8th birthday. And then COVID hit and it stopped everything, changed everything. And we started getting well, here's what I like confused on. So when we launched, COVID hit about 2 weeks after. Yeah, 2 weeks. During that span, we got about two or three orders. Now, since that day, we've got about now that I think about it, about 53, 54 orders.
Go ahead, Cam.
So yeah. So now I'm just going to go on with my business and try to improve. I'm actually working on my new designs right now. Creativity is in my DNA. You can see it on my website, allyeargear.co.
That's what I'm talking about. And it's funny because I was expecting, because you never know with everything that's going on. And so many times I've been out on, Facebook and see so much negativity, and it's hard to be positive with all this going on. But what's refreshing is to see that, even with all this going on, each one of you have pulled out something positive, and then once you locked into it, you just roll with it. And it's just kind of to show you that, to me, this is a moment where it strengthens you in your businesses. So, when you think, oh, I'm used to operating one way and I'm flourishing this way. And then when something else is thrown at you and you're thinking, oh, great, what am I going to do now? And you all just said, oh, I'm going to keep moving. So nothing can stop you. And that's actually a testament to going forward. It's like, okay, well, throw something else at me. I got this. So I like to see that, because you do think for a minute once everything happened, because I know with me, I wasn't thinking about the businesses at the moment. It was about how to keep my hands washed and how to keep everybody safe and building up my immune system. And I was like, I can't focus on all this other stuff right now. That's just, I want to stay alive, and I got teased really bad because I really struggled the first 2 weeks after being sent home from my, full-time job. But then after that couple of weeks, then I started to just kind of sit still. And Cam, I just want you to know that Sharon Parker says she wants 1, 2, 3 or more Cams all year. So you still working even on this live. You are making money. So that's what I'm talking about. So I wanted to actually ask you all, moving forward, so what are your plans for your businesses? As you can see, Cam's he's still working. Okay, so even while we doing this, he is still working. Because that shirt that he had on, I'm feeling that shirt. So, and I do have one. I love to see young people doing things, and I love it. So y'all please check out Cam. And before we get off of here, we're going to definitely make sure you can get in touch with everybody who's on here. But give me a little bit about what you all are doing with your businesses going forward, because maybe some of your vision has changed and you added some things to the business, because now, like Latasha was saying, now y'all know how to do virtual, you know how to do in person. So you just added to your services. Shoot, you can't do nothing but win with that, because now you done figured out how to do it, whether we shut in or going out. So what's the next move? So, well, Chef Steven, we already know we coming to place orders. But why don't you tell us, because you're doing curbside pickup and things like that, but tell us what your next steps are.
So we're doing curbside pickup. We have Uber Eats and DoorDash and Postmates and all those other delivery services. But I think what's important too is, yes, this is a time for us to be successful, but it's also a time for us to help each other. I think it's an opportunity for us to work as a people. I have opportunities now that I have a cafe. I have a storefront, and we have guests that come in. Of course, we have sanitizer. hand-free sanitizer in the lobby area. We have a screen in front of our door so they can come in without touching the door handle. So it's all contact. They don't have to touch anything when they're in the store. But it's a storefront, so this is an opportunity for me to help other Black-owned businesses. Like we sell cookies from a Black-owned company here in Maryland. We have water from a boy named GQ. He sells water and lemonade, a Black-owned business. We have candles that we sell from a Black-owned business. And I'm interested in talking to Cam about his gear that we can start selling it in our cafe, so he can
That would be awesome.
No?
And that's what this is all about. Because I wanted to actually, because Charlene, I was going to say, and Charlene is a connector of so many. I mean, when Charlene comes in the room, she's going to bring whoever's on the right over to the left and whoever's on the left over to the right. She's just going to bring them together. So
you know I was going to jump in because I'm like, whoa, wait, you're talking about God. Okay, it means to collaborate, and you must collaborate on purpose. And I'm going to get spiritual on you because I tell people that God caused COVID just for me. He allowed COVID to be here just for me. He shut down the world just for me, right? And you may feel that same way. I totally feel that, so that we can use every skill and every gift that we have. It just so happened that the day, I think that was Memorial Day, when we lost Mr. Floyd, okay? And God, the world stopped. But the world really did not stop. It was an awakening for us all. They said we must be together, we must come together, and we're all in this together. And I don't think people ever got that clear, even though COVID was going on, unless we actually saw the death of our brother brought on by the most hideous crime or criminal right there in front of our face. Now, we saw this 20 and 60 years ago, but now we got to see it, and it made everybody think, not just the Black folks think. You talk about Italian, you talk about Caucasians, everybody in the world had an opportunity to say, what must I do next, right? And so we instantly use that word collaboration to say we must come together and work together on purpose. That's the name of my company, Collab. We collaborate on purpose for a purpose. And just listening to the great Chef Steven, that's exactly what he's doing. That's exactly what he just told Cam and his mother and all of us, an opportunity to work together. Someone was just asking me about the unemployment. We were in a political talk right here in Facebook, and they're like, oh, should people stay on unemployment? Like, what do you mean? Should they stay? Some people can't afford not to stay on unemployment. I mean, and if unemployment is cut, guess what happens? They could go homeless. So we're looking at another scenario in October, November, after elections, that the economy will crash again. Then what happens? We really are going to have to pull our resources together. So now what's happening, if you go back to the 40s during the Depression and all these other economic crashes, this is when Black people have been the most creative, of saying, I got the food if you got the car. If you got a car, you can get the food to whoever you need to get to. I got a garden over here that I've been nourishing for over 60-some years. If you got a car, get it to the people in the community. That's what we're going to have to, be. Business owners and family owners saying we are in this together to help one another. So,
absolutely. I knew when Chef Steven was talking, I knew, because Charlene is the collaboration queen. So I know, and she's a cheerleader for all, and that's the other part of it, is that we need to learn to cheer each other on, because we don't know each other's battles behind the scenes. So, we really need, this is a time where everybody's not telling everything, but we just need to be a positive force behind them, saying whatever's going on, we got you, and whatever you're trying to do, we with you. So, Sharon and Chartice, I wanted to ask you all too, what your thoughts were.
I want to share this. I'll tell you what, as far as moving forward, when Latasha was saying that about pivot, I get to referee basketball. I've done it for over a decade, and it's just something I love to do, no matter what. Even though I travel and speak from November to February, I'm shutting it down. I'm on that court. But the thing with a pivot is, a pivot doesn't necessarily mean you're going backwards. A pivot just means you're turning. Like, something's in front of you, the opposition, and you turn. But the goal is still the same goal. And now I'm going to back to Charlene. For so long, we haven't really been thinking about it, but so long we've been like, oh, let's kill the game, get the money, we living our best life. You know, we're singing a song and all that, but it's more of an I component or me and mine component. And I do subscribe to spiritual principles as well. So moving forward, my thing now transitions from being self-employed. I believe it's going to be like going from self-employed to a business owner. They may sound the same, but when you're self-employed, if you don't work, you don't eat. A business owner, there are more branches. I don't understand why, and I don't understand why it's me, but I'm not arguing about it. But like I said, my workload has tripled, which means my business has tripled. And so I'm trying to tell everybody that is having a blame conversation, I'm like, that's a dead, no shade to anyone doing it, but that's a dead conversation. For so long, we've looked at all of these places, whether it's government, business loan, the education, to be different sources, and we've been consumers.
Absolutely.
But we are designed to be producers and to have some type of say. And I know that's scary for some folks, but so for the future, I'm going to go ahead and continue my transition. Thank the Lord. I mean, we all in this tension that we're living in. I'm going to continue that transition. But one of the things I really will do and will continue to do in the midst of coaching, training, speaking, you know, I have a book, Hold Your Form, you know, authoring, all of that. Anybody who will listen, I'm still on that when I met you in December. I'm telling everybody, anybody who will listen and who is willing to move from being a consumer to a producer, I'm going to help you do it.
Absolutely.
I don't care if you're swinging by the pharmacy and picking up medicine and delivering it, and sing, because Americans still love convenience in the middle of a pandemic. And that's what they'll pay you out of that $12 they have left. They're still willing to give you $6 if you'll go pick that up at this time. And so that's what Charlene, you're correct. Everybody's gonna have to work more. You know,
absolutely.
Get yourself covered, but know that you're gonna have to work with people who may not be in your circle right now.
And that's what like bringing you all together, because you all are actually not just saying, hey, it's hard. Hey, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's more so of, yeah, I had a few struggles here and there, but I had to just kind of go back to the drawing board, say, how am I going to keep them? There is no stop. Like Latasha, like all of you were saying, there's no stop. It's how I can work. Like Chef Steven said, he went straight into a collaboration. Like, okay, this is what you're doing. This is what I'm doing. How can we work together? Chartice and Latasha and Cam's still working. I can see people ordering while we're talking. So he is busy working his business. But Chartice and then Latasha, tell me a little bit about, you know, how you all, because Chartice, maybe with realtors, do y'all come together? How do y'all work that? But we got to start working together. You on mute. Okay, there you go.
Oh,
you good.
Realtors definitely come together. So it has been a lot of time. You know, you can't always get that face-to-face, but Zoom calls and, you know, even breaking out of your usual circles, right? Figuring out how to reach into different circles to get different perspective. And again, back to figuring out how to come together and work together. So that's been really amazing. But in addition to that, I am a business owner, right? My real estate business is a business and a brand, but it has been even more powerful for me through this experience. I think everybody is reevaluating their life and where they want to go and what they want to do, and you know, how to create stability for them financially, economically, spiritually, and all these different kinds of ways. And so in addition to the real estate work I've been doing, I've been finding so much joy and such a blessing in having conversations with just friends or students or neighbors or whoever that never contemplated, you know, starting a business. Perhaps they had fear about it. Perhaps they, you know, had a ton of creativity, but the risks associated with it were just too daunting for them, or they felt such. And just really sitting down and having conversations and sharing experience and cheering each other on and motivating and exchanging information about resources available or connecting them to other people, I think has been so powerful, because I do feel, again, where we are with COVID and then the pandemic of social injustices going on, it's going to be critically important, like we've all said, to come together and help one another and lift one another up to move to the next level. And so that has been what I call, because I'm like Charlene, I have been looking for my Corona blessings, is what I call them. Every way I try to see life as the glass half full. And I do think that God has a purpose and a plan in everything. I think it is no accident that we are in this place, and He is forcing us to stop and reevaluate the insanity in which we have been living, and to get some order and come together. And so that has been an extraordinary blessing that I so appreciate.
I totally agree.
And my creativity has come out. I did launch my website from a business perspective. So www.starteastorrance.com. It has been amazing to be at home more and to be able to focus on that. So that's like birthing another child for me, and that's been amazing.
Yes, and you've had time to be home and spend time with that new baby, that new birth. Yes. So, yes, absolutely. Latasha, what have you, because I'm sure you can do some creative things. And look, so anybody, the arrangements you've, when you mentioned the flowers, and I think I saw somebody who received an arrangement from you, and it didn't even dawn on me that I love flowers, and why not just because just for no reason. So I'm already thinking about what I'm going to do to make the order. But what have you done that's going to help you move forward and collaborate with other people?
Yeah. So last year, I was constantly praying about clarity. And so just like Charlene said, I believe COVID came just for me, because praying for clarity, COVID gave me a lot of peace. It gave me a lot of time in order to figure some things out. And my pastor had been preaching about restarting since the beginning of the year. He's been preaching about restarting. We have to find our time to restart. And so I've used this time to figure out a different way to do what I love. You mentioned when you read my brief bio that I plan, hundreds of events a year. Well, I wanted to figure out a way where I can still plan the events and do the things that I love, but do it more purposefully. And so I've been learning to also expand my circle, expand my horizons by stepping outside of my normal network of event planners and reaching out to photographers and chefs and venue owners so that we could collaborate. One of the things that I'm working on now, like one of the major projects, is a market for small businesses to come out and just sell their goods, open to the public, free for the public to attend. But that, I collaborated with a venue owner, a chef, and the NAACP, and we brought this market to my community so that these small business owners who aren't getting the foot traffic in their, in their storefronts, or they're not getting the hits to their website that they were used to because people were scared to spend money, now they're out there, they're networking, and people are becoming more comfortable with spending money because they realize, I think people are catching on that we're going to go through certain storms. We always do, but we always come out on the other side. And so you just have to be, have faith and trust and know that, whatever this obstacle is, trust it's going to be another obstacle later on, but you just have to be focused.
Exactly. Because, he don't give us nothing we can't handle, right?
And be willing to learn through this storm to come out full or learn. Right. Amen. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Look, and I mean, I love to do, I'm a creative as well, and could live all day in my craft room, in my office with all the business. I think I have to sometimes slow down because I'm like, I'll have 50 million businesses and trying to manage them all at the same time because I got too much time in this room for my head to spin. And I love it because it actually, I think, and I'll tell you this, when we were in the house, I didn't actually go through the moments of, oh my goodness, I'm stuck in the house. I never felt that way. I was just kind of like, okay, I'm good. I can still work and move and everything right in my space. But I actually was motivated by the fact I brought it up to my son. He probably wasn't really thinking about it, but he was home from college because of COVID. So we were actually, I'm not a big cook. Sorry, Steve, I'm just not a big cook, but I actually went cooked every day, and dinner was at the table, where back in the day you used to go to the table and sit down with your family and eat and have conversation about what happened that day. And it almost seemed like it was forced at first, but then after a while I was like, this is what we supposed to be doing. This is what and that's what motivates me. And because I wasn't getting it, I was like, oh, I was missing something, because you get into the rat race with running the kids to practice and doing this and doing that. Nobody's sitting down together. And we actually had every evening, no matter what everybody was doing in their own little man caves and bedrooms, when dinner happened, everybody, whether we was mad at each other because we stuck, whatever the situation was, dinner was at the table and we were all sitting there. And I was always motivated right after dinner. And it's like, that's how it used to be back in the day. So I too think that this happened for a reason, because we need to get back to our foundation. What motivates us is that nucleus right there that brings you together. You feed off each other. Your kids talk to you. Your husband talks to you. Or just the energy at the table. There were times when we sat and ate and nobody was saying a lot of anything. We would just, a couple of things, this is good. And, then we did the dishes and we went back retreated to our spaces, but it kind of energized me. It kind of reminded me, I was talking to somebody, reminded me of when you go to play, laser tag and you're out there and you're, running around, but if you get shot too many times, you have to go back to the main place and recharge before you can go back out there and do it again. And I think that that's what happened. We had to go back and recharge and come out swinging. And all of you all have been coming out swinging big time. Even Cam working so much. He hadn't even got the break because he's placing orders. But
Lisa,
yeah,
I don't think COVID actually changed who you are.
Right.
It may have changed how you do things, how you perceive life, but who you are is who you are.
That's true.
And I think business owners will always be business owners. Entrepreneurs will always be entrepreneurs. We may change how we strategize, but I believe servants will always be servants. Those of us who serve will always serve regardless of what's going on in the world. We may change how we do things, but who you are is who you are.
That's
you
true.
will always be who you are. So,
but I think we got some new team members. I will say that I think it forced some people who thought maybe that's not my thing, and when they sat down for a minute, it was kind of like, oh, okay, I like this. And it forced people to kind of think, like you said, it's in them. But now we were able to kind of connect with our gifts, our real gifts. As opposed to doing what somebody wants you to do or doing what you feel like you got to do. It kind of it forced you to think about, okay, what do I really want to do? What am I connecting with? Because actually, I told you I don't like the kitchen, but when I cooked, I was enjoying. Now, I'm not going to be chef like you, Steve. I'm not, no. But I don't dislike the kitchen so much anymore because of what I felt like when I was in there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like they loved it. My son was like, this is great. As soon as he said that, I was like, oh, I want to go back in the kitchen, because he liked everyone sitting down at the dinner table, especially when you're empty nesters, your kids aren't around. So it's like, it's hard to cook for two people. It really is.
My biggest fear is after all this is said and done, all this is over, and you're able to go back out with your mask on and without your gloves on, are things going to go back to the way it was in February 2020? That's my biggest fear, is like, okay, all of a sudden we have this pandemic and, love and Black Lives Matter and all this is going on, and we are, we're together, we're bonding, and then when all this is over, are we going to go back to the foolishness that we left in the beginning of March? Yeah, that's my biggest fear, and I think that's important to talk about.
Absolutely. So what I'll do based on what you just said was I'll make it a point, because I think the way we don't go back is to keep talking and doing what we're doing now, and not just stop talking about it now that we're past that.
Lisa, I'd like to interject. I would say that, we will go back the way To some people will go back to the same thing. So right now we have an election. I will be, when I do myself justice being on the political scene right now, by saying that we still need to vote. And I believe that a lot of us will vote. And the November election is very critical for you to vote. And also this talk about Black Lives Matter and all the other movements. You know what? Think about Rodney King. We thought that we had it locked down. We thought, everybody just get along? And I'm just saying, we did that and we were strong together. And then it faded away. But you know what it created, Doc? You know what it created, Doc, Chef Stephen? And guys, it did create communities and it opened up nonprofits. The NAACP was more focused on, hey, let's watch what they do to our Black communities and let's build more business. So I believe what will happen is that we will have a few people just like us that's going to make a difference. And if it's just taking 10 of us that say we're going to start something new, we're going to create something new, and we're going to keep people woke about the things that our community was complaining about in 2020. I want us. It's going to be us, Mr. Chef Stephen. It's going to be us, Latasha. It's going to be us, Sherry. It's going to be us, Therese. It's going to be us, Lisa. It's going to be us, Cam. I believe it's us. But I do believe people are going to go back to how they were because they're already doing it. I'm like, I've never seen so many Teslas over here where I live at. I'm like, whoa, somebody got some money.
Yeah.
You know,
well, I'll tell you what. So I want to actually pose this to you all because before we wind down, I wanted to pose to you all that you all hold me to it and I hold you to it, that, you know, periodically we come back to the table and we have these discussions and, you know, take it to the next step each time and never let it disappear. Because since we are those, I agree with you, Charlene. So since we are those people that we keep having these talks, we keep reminding those who go back that we're still pushing forward and, you know, put it in a situation where they have to catch up with us because we're still going to go forward. So even if you all backtrack or stand still, we're not going to let that pull us back or hold us back. So I want to make sure that you all hold me to the fire and say, hey, it's time to get back to the table and talk about what we talked about with that. So I want to make that happen, but I do want us to end on a fun note. I'm actually, and I have this, call it an issue. I don't know what you call it, but I love to look up national awareness days during the months and things like that. I don't know if it's just this weird thing. I know some of you do this, but in the month of August, there were some days that you celebrate that I thought, okay, this was my luncheon with Lisa moment, because it was kind of like, okay, they lunching when they come up with some of these things. And let me preface by saying, I think it's my generation that understands what luncheon means, because the younger people might think it's something else. So when I say luncheon with Lisa, I know some of them like, what in the world does that mean? But my age group, I know we know what it means. Sharon.
I'm in Dallas, Texas. I'm from Oklahoma. Tulsa, as a matter of fact, Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I'm like, does that mean we eat while we speak? I've been the whole show. I've been like, I'm gonna get it. As soon as they drop it, I'm gonna get it. I don't have it yet.
When we get off of here, but no, we gonna trip. You know, people tripping a little bit. And I thought about lunching with Lisa. I'm sure there's plenty of stories we could talk about where you have run into somebody recently that you said was just tripping. If we could get into the mask, we can get all kind of stuff. But I said we don't want to go there because that's a whole nother show, because people are tripping. But I did want to bring up that for the month of August, there was some fun little things to celebrate that you all can think about next August. But did you all know that, for instance, August 2nd was National Coloring Book Day?
Oh no,
I didn't know that. So so I'm definitely going to plan some kind of, I've always wanted to do this, and this is why I love this kind of stuff, to do it like an adult coloring book party. And I wanted to do this long before COVID, but I said we can virtually, Latasha, we can come up with something, and Steve and we can come up with some food to have and deliver to pick up so we can get our coloring books. Shantice, you can find us a spot that maybe we can start to work. We need to work together. Sharon, virtually you coming on, and Charlene, I know you know how to pull everybody in, but there's some fun things that we can do. And this is what I'm talking about with creativity. And I did want to mention, because today is August the 6th, correct? So, So we'll end on this note that I wanted you all to know that August the 6th is actually National Root Beer Float Day. So
Root beer.
yeah,
I love root beer.
so you all can go get yourselves a root beer float because today is National Root Beer Float Day. But I wanted to actually look at Cameron's face. I wanted to thank you all for joining me on Luncheon with Lisa. This has been fantastic. I definitely always want you all back. This was a huge deal to me, and I think I'm gonna be celebrating National Black Business Month all month long. So I will always, every show of this month, have some more business people on. Yes, so you all, please, real quick before we go, please tell everybody where they can connect with you, so that we can keep these collaborations going. So Charlene, tell them where they can connect with you.
Well, guys, you can always find me at Charlene Day on all forms of social media. That's Charlene E. Day, all forms of social media. You can also reach out to me at colab.com. That's KELABE.com. But just inbox me and let's talk. Let's collaborate.
Let's do it. Steven?
Yes, you can find me on Facebook, Any Minute Cafe, or my website, which is www.naminutecafe.com. We're in Capitol Heights, 9244 East Hampton Drive, number 203 in Capitol Heights.
And Latasha and Cam, tell us where we can catch you all. I think they
Latasha?
They froze on us.
She's mute, yeah.
Can you hear me? Okay, because my computer keeps going out. So you can find me on Facebook, Latasha Briscoe, or Instagram, Latasha Briscoe, or Creatives Coach, and my website is latashabriscoe.com. Or if you want flowers or decor, my website is lbinnovations.events. Cameron, tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me on my website, allyeargear.co.
That's right.
You can find me on Instagram, all_year_gear_gear.
That's
and
right.
I think they've already found you today, so you're getting some work in. And Sharon.
All year
I think you said allyeargear.com. Is that what you said?
Allyeargear.co. No M.
.co. Uh-huh.
Yep.
Excellent. Yeah, so you can find me. I'm Sharon Combs. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on Facebook. Please note that Sharon does have a Y, not an O, it's a Y. So find me there on Instagram, UCDI Network, my website, UCDI Leadership. But yes, find me. You can find me any of those places.
That's right. And if you can't find her, I will help you get to her. And Shartice, tell us where we can find you.
Absolutely. I'm on Facebook and Instagram at Shartice Torrance, CHARTESETORRENCE. You can also find me on my website at www.sharticetorrance.com, or you can contact me at 202-335-2315. I am licensed realtor in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. And I am here to help make
now,
your
first,
dreams
before
a
we go,
reality.
I'll let you know where to find me. This is Luncheon with Lisa. It's www.lunchinwithlisa.com. But you can also find me at lisadovewashington.com and Dove Style Magazine. We will definitely share everybody's contact information on the page so you can connect. So please come back every Thursday, 7 to 8. On Luncheon with Lisa's page. And I wanted to send a special shout out to Shartice. It is her anniversary. So happy anniversary, Shartice. And thank you to Roderick for letting us have you for an hour. I appreciate all of you coming on. This has been awesome. And I hope to see you all next week. See you then. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.